soon I'm gonna let you go, but I want to get all the wisdom out of you today. You recently also visited, Africa, the great nation of Ghana.
Yes.
And then you have seen so many changes.
Yes.
So many changes. So, what's your perspective? Looking forward.
Absolutely. Right now, Africa is taking a dimension, the different conundrums all together. This is the place to be, to invest in, acquire land, technology. I even seen Google just built an artificial intelligence center in Ghana.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I see Goldman and Sachs, I see Deloitte, all these consulting companies. Because I went in 2008 and I recently went in the fall of 2021. And the difference that I've seen in the infrastructure, the technology, the advancement, I mean, it's profound. Don't get me wrong. I always knew I came from, royalty, from kings, Gold Coast. Black is a blessing, like the shirt says, But just knowing the capabilities and the heights that we haven't even reached yet. What did you say, 400 million?
400 million diaspora are living outside Africa.
And right now, you see, let's even take just the Nigerians.
Yeah.
Look at them in the NBA. 25% of the first round picks last year were Nigerians. And the NFL is the same case. In business, Harvard Business School, 25% of the graduates, they were Nigerians. So you can see that there is an accumulation of wealth, of education, of knowledge flowing into our communities. And as we go back to our countries and we see what's going on respectively over there too, we see the connection being formed more and more, and just different levels, spheres on culture, music. I mean, Black Panther, like the #1 song last year was a Wizkid song, Afrobeat song.
Wow.
You can't even go anywhere, even NBA game, and not hear an Afrobeat song. All the TikTok craze is pushed by us. Like, this is a great time. It's always a great time to be African, but right now is really our time. So this is really the time to be in tune and in sync with what's going on in the African community all over the world.
Yeah.
They are sandwiched between two generations, between two cultures, between two traditions. What do we learn from that? And how do we assimilate? How do we evolve? You hear all this in this interview. You want to hear from them themselves. You have to hear what they have to say.
Welcome back to AfrigaZone. This is AfrigaZone, your channel for the diaspora. Promise made, promise kept. We have said that we are going to have young men, fine young men in the diaspora on this channel, and we are having the first one, a vibrant young man. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you have not yet made so. Like this video and share it. The information we are going to share on this right now, they are so valuable, and I believe that enlightenment is coming. We are having a diaspora in the house. Wow. They are born here, they are educated, they are vibrant, they are professional. They are now getting into the adult world. They are young adults. They are now getting into the adult world. They are feeling the life. With the Africa emerging, how do we bridge the gap? This is what it is about. And today, we are honored to have one vibrant young man, a fine man that I have known for some time on the channel. And welcome, Isaac.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for accepting my invitation to talk to our people there, AfrigaZone squad. And we are excited. And then I believe that they are also excited to have you here.
Yes, sir.
And first of all, you know what AfrigaZone is about. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. My name is Isaac Painsil. I'm a Ghanaian American, 24 years old. I'm a young professional in the business world. Graduated with my bachelor's about 3 years ago. In addition to what I do professionally, what I'm really passionate about is I'm also a minister on the rise, pastor in the making and development at Christ Oasis Ministries, where I fellowship with my honorable teacher Ralph here, and just passionate about putting change, having an impact on the next generation, especially as it pertains to our people and the furtherance and advancement of our people. So excited to be on this platform. Thank you for the opportunity, and it's going to be a great interview.
That's a great presentation. You just said that you graduated with bachelor's degree. In which area of study you had?
Oh yes, I graduated from Indiana University in Bloomington with my bachelor's in marketing and public relations. So bachelor's in business administration. And I also have my minor in Spanish and entrepreneurship as well.
Wow, entrepreneurship. These are the skills that we need.
Yes, sir.
And especially with the emerging Africa, I believe that you are in the right path. We have the components also when it comes to diaspora. We have the economic diaspora, spiritual and social. And then I don't know if there's another one, but if there's another one, please comment below, let me know and then share with me. Yeah, it's Africa that wins, and Kigali. Yes. As I say that he's born in the diaspora, in the US here. He graduated. He ministers also, and then he preaches also. I don't know if you have, if you want to see more of his preaching, go to Facebook, Christ Oasis Ministry, and you will see that there are many preachings over there, and then he's one of them preaching, vibrant and powerful preaching. Look at it on Facebook. And then as I say that right now, what do you do for a living?
Okay, so right now I'm a marketing executive with a company called Upwork, essentially to give an idea into what they do. So they are a modern tech company that's kind of an alternative to the traditional staffing companies, especially for remote work. And so it's my job to roll out the campaigns, roll out the marketing, work on the different promotions team to best advertise this product to Fortune 500 companies and maintain those relationships and those business contracts with our clients.
Oh, wow. I believe that these are some of the skills that we need in the 21st century. With the emerging Africa, we the diaspora here, right now it is estimated that the 6th region for Africa, we have 5 regions in Africa, right? West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, and the Mediterranean, and South Africa. The 6th region has been declared as a diaspora who is outside the diaspora.
Oh, I like that.
And then we account 400 million. Woo! We account for 400 million Africans outside. So this is the 6th region of Africa. We the diaspora, including you. We are in the United States of America, Canada, and then we are in Europe, we are in the Pacific, we are in Asia, we are spread all over.
Everywhere.
400 million. And then just recently, in 2021, it is estimated that only the Ghanaian diaspora, they are able to send the money that they send to transfer to family for project in Ghana alone. I mean the great nation of Ghana alone. It is estimated at $4.2 billion. Through transfer. Through transfer.
Wow.
So the numbers are showing these days, and then we must be able to enlighten our people, especially the diaspora outside Africa. And then research also have shown, despite we went through the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, that in less than 2 decades, Africa is going to be the workforce, the global workforce.
That's right.
Where everybody is trying to come to fish, Americans and Africans. So being a diaspora, being in the financial world right now, and then you aspiring to get into entrepreneurship, well, how do you think that we can bridge the gap? Because we should be able to bridge the gap.
Absolutely.
We should be able to bridge the gap. Because you made a statement, and then I heard, and you wrote on your Facebook that even though you are born in Africa, you are born here in the United States, Africa is born in you.
That's right.
So what do we do? What has the positive change? Tell me about it.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to give credit to that quote, where is due. That's Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, pioneer, visionary, Ghana's first president, led us through independence. And he was the one that made that statement. And for it to come from him, it just holds so much power, because we were born here in the United States, but through the fusion of 2 African parents, and they come together and they create you. You can't tell me that someone who is 100% Ghanaian, 100% Ghanaian biology, they reproduce and then create something that's not Ghanaian, because 2 Italians don't reproduce and then create a Czechoslovakian. 2 Mexicans don't reproduce and then create a Nigerian. So 2 Ghanaians came together, had me, but on American soil. So that's where the term Ghanaian American comes from. And as far as bridging the gap, especially in finance and in business, one thing that I like that I've seen that Ghana did in the last 2 years, they did the year of the return, and then they extended it to do beyond the return, which allowed African Americans, not even just diaspora, but just black people in general, to reconnect with their roots. Because even though I'll be connected through nature, through my blood, through my heritage, my roots, and I'm grateful that I have that. Most of our experience growing up here is more cultivated by our environment, by our circumstance. So it's very hard to lose touch with your culture and where you're from if you don't take a conscious and deliberate action toward it. So with business, there are a lot of young African entrepreneurs doing great things. I was reading just about somebody who came up with some artificial intelligence methodology to detect the early stages of breast cancer. And I mean, there are people building cars from scrap metal in the villages. All kind of things and opportunities, but the gap that's there is ignorance. It's just not knowing, whether it's a blissful ignorance or a conscious ignorance. It's ignorance nonetheless. So I think what we can do is have more work, because you said there's about 400 million.
Yes.
We are here. And I think that we are just a silent majority, because we're often classified as black. Because at the end of the day, whether you're Nigerian American, Congolese American, you're seen as black, right? And that's a beautiful thing that we're united in this way. But we have to take more of an effort to come together, do workshops, right? I see the Igbo people, they have their own conventions and things, a tribe from Nigeria, for those who may not know, and they come together and they share and they exchange these ideas and wealth, and being able to make those forums and those opportunities available, especially now in the remote world with things being virtual, there's endless opportunity for us to connect and get out there. Because I know a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to invest in Africa, but I don't know how. So then that responsibility, that conviction comes on the folks like me, like us, who are from the diaspora, from the African diaspora, whether you're first generation or second generation, because this is a country that we've been planted in, and there's a reason why we're here, and we have an impact and an outreach to make. And honestly, the more you think about it, you feel it's almost like it's our duty, especially to the black people who may not have this same privilege and blessing and knowing where they're from. Like me, knowing that my parents are from Ghana, I don't have to look at any ancestry test. I don't need to take any DNA sample. When I say African American, I don't have to put I can swap out the African and put in Ghanaian. So we have to make sure that we account for all of our brothers and sisters here. Because like you were talking about earlier, right, how a lot of Africans, they come here for economic opportunity, furtherance and advancement, better opportunities for their children. Understand that none of this is possible without the sacrifices and the hardships and the trials and the victories, the good, bad, and ugly that was fought for by men like Medgar Evers, like Martin Luther King, like Malcolm X, and all of the activists before us, so that we could even have this opportunity. So bridging that gap, to just kind of wrap it up, us taking an initiative, and us, I mean the diaspora, African diaspora, to make these meetings more known, to put our ideas out there, host events, network, get out there and do that.
Wow. This is very enlightening. Talk about network, how we should also plan and consciously. This cannot be done unconsciously. Consciously. Last time we had a men's gathering, and then a lot of enlightenment. You know how we can really, like, let's say that take on things here, entrepreneurship in the domain of real estate and investment. You know, we know the cycle of stocks, and then recently, about a decade ago, more than a decade ago, cryptocurrency has been introduced also in our community. You know, and then you spoke also about the difference between nationality and identity. You know, even you are born here, you know, you are American nationals, you are U.S. citizens, but you know your identity. You know your real identity. So you don't have to be born in Ghana to have an identity as a Ghanaian. You already know that the blood is flowing through you. So now to connect the dots, right? To connect the dots, you talking about the entrepreneurship. What are some of the steps? What are some of the behavior? What are some of the practical things that you think that you coming up, right? You coming up. We are talking about you. Your generation is very important to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then to you to speak to your generation.
Absolutely. You know, like you said, this is a very special and a unique generation for a variety of reasons. And I say the first step would be in branding ourselves and distinguishing who we are. So we take a platform like this, AfrigaZone, right, where it's dedicated to the news, updates, sharing culture about Africans and how it pertains to the diaspora, the relationship, and all things that pertain to that, right? And we have this source. But if Brother Ralph here doesn't take that initiative to launch this YouTube channel and expose this content, these ideas, this very important dialogue, then we're left in ignorance. And especially today, where the world is very digital, right? You know, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have TikTok. The amount of careers, I mean, I can tell you story upon story. You know, the views, you never know who's watching, who you will be exposed to. So make sure that if you're an entrepreneur, right, if you're a businessman, you have an idea, you have a service, you have a product, you know, you have to make sure that you stand out on the market. But you first have to put yourself on the market and make yourself available. That's what they call brand awareness in the world, right? So especially with the social media app, and I can't emphasize that enough, really push that. Come with a concise message. Have a particular, unique niche, what makes you stand out, right? And then as far as reaching out to the diaspora, making sure you're getting into those circles and into those networks. And I can't stress that enough, because you can get all the bachelors, the masters, the PhD, and everything else together. But if you don't know somebody to get you through that door, forget about it.
Networking.
Forget about it. And so, especially like in Chicago, you know, we have the Chicago Black Chamber of Commerce. There are a lot of young black professional groups dedicated to the Africans, diaspora. So many groups I don't even know about, different organizations. And it's key that we immerse ourselves in these communities, fellowship, and really just make ourselves get out there. That's the first and foremost.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And then also you spoke about, you know, both of your parents being a Ghanaian. How is it like growing up, you know, here in America, being born in America with two parents 100% coming from Ghana and then I'll be able to make it here. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very unique experience, and I'm blessed that God has put me in a position to have it. So it's like I'm growing up under one culture. You know, I go to school 5 days out the week, 8 hours of the day.
Yeah,
and
you spend more time in school with the American community than even your Ghanaian cultural background.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the way I could best explain this is through the concept of nature and nurture.
Yeah.
So like nature, by my heritage, by my blood, I'm a Ghanaian. When I come home, I'm chopping fufu, I'm eating jollof. My other American counterparts ain't eating that.
You know how to cook it too?
I do, actually. I do. I actually won a cooking competition for jollof in college. So they know that the Ghana jollof is superior.
This fight between, this competition between Nigeria jollof and Ghana jollof, you are taking it to another level now.
Man, it's not even a competition, man. The Ghanaians have won it.
Okay, continue.
But just to kind of expound on the nature versus nurture, right?
Yeah.
But for us in the diaspora, we are more so accommodated by the nurture factor because we didn't grow up and we didn't go to secondary school. We didn't have these common experiences amongst most Ghanaians. So it's like one foot is in one world and one is in the other, because to say I'm American 100%, it's not possible. It's impossible because I didn't grow up that way. But to also say that I'm Ghanaian, it's also not proper too. So that's why it's Ghanaian American, and it's not like I could say I'm 30% Ghanaian and 70% American.
Right.
Like, how do you even judge it? How do you even determine that? You know, but gradually, you know, and as I've grown up, you know, you receive splashes and sprinkles of the culture in different ways, whether it's the food, fashion, the music. So it's been a great experience. Sometimes, you know, it's a clash because ideologies, you know.
Right.
Like, small example, like, let's say talking back, right? In American school, they encourage you to speak up, to challenge authorities and ideas. At home, no, don't do that. And
in Africa home,
big red flag.
big red flag.
And I was always getting in trouble for that. But as I grew up and began to learn, there's just cultural differences.
Yeah.
And my parents also understood, like, okay, he's not him trying to be disrespectful, but just the way he came up too.
Right. And then for us also, you know, being a, you know, first generation immigrant, having my children born here, you know, my kids, you know, practically, you know, nobody, because they are grown here, they went to school over here, they are having education over here, speaking up or talk back. But one thing that we didn't learn, you know, back home is that, you know, the child wants to understand more the reason why he should not do this. But back home, you know, based on the tradition, I left home when I was 17, right? So you don't need to ask. When it's no, whether you have knowledge, whether there's enlightenment on this, or they just say no. But here the child want to know why. So why, you know, in Africa, this is a sign of disrespect, or talking back to authority, or not respecting authority. But what should we do? You know, the same way the scriptures say that fathers or parents, do not provoke your children.
Absolutely.
Right. So the one way that we cannot provoke, we will not, you know, get to the space of the kids provoking them, is that we have to assimilate.
Absolutely.
Knowing about the culture, what are some of this culture teaches, you know, them in school. And as you said, it's not a sign of disrespect. Was it very difficult to grow up in America in an African cultural home?
I won't say difficult, but I'll say it was interesting. You know, there are going to be clashes here and there, which is going to happen, you know, coming from two very different cultures and backgrounds. But it's all a learning experience, because like the scripture you said, like, parents don't provoke your children. You know, it's a two-way street. It also says, you know, honor your mother and your father. So there's certain things I learned about the culture, like using my right hand. Like America, you can use your left hand, right hand, it doesn't matter. But I understand, like, okay, this is where I come from. Let me use my right hand. It's not going to kill me to just use my right hand in whatever I do. And in the same vein, if they see, like, once in a while, if I use my left hand, like, not to put down hell and fire over me, because I also know, like, I've grown up here, you know.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much. And then also, you are not only a child of two African parents. You are a child of which we usually call, you know, PK, pastor's kids.
Oh yeah,
pastor's kids. So how's your experience with that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting speaking on it now as I'm now in the walk of becoming a minister. But growing up, I say, it's a very strict, very scripturally inspired upbringing, which I'm grateful for, because there's no better way than to be raised, according to the word. Train up a child in the way he shall go. But sometimes, beyond that, it's a lot of eyes on you. It's like your life is under a microscope. A lot of judgments. A lot of people have something to say about you. It's a lot of pressure. If you know who my dad is, and he's a big guy. So, and then I'm also named Isaac Peso Jr. Wow. So they see me as virgin. So every day I wake up and it's like greatness is expected.
Greatness is expectation. Actually, it is said that the expectation of the righteous shall not be cut off. So the expectation, that one, just recently, right? Masa asked me to go and play basketball with his friend. He's in high school now, from freshman to sophomore, and then he's supposed to come back at 5:30, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm at work and he called me. It's already 8 o'clock. Are you at home yet? No, Daddy, I want to do this. I want to do this. No, I said no. There's expectation. When you say 6 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock. Right. When you say 6 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock. And then I believe that with this culture also, that's what we're supposed to be bringing in. And absolutely. Then, and the pressure. I've grown up, in Africa, as I told you. I left home when I was 17. France, Germany, 7 years before I came to United States in 2004. And I can say that I've been abroad. I've been in abroad right now for more than 25 years. Oh wow! And there's expectation because me myself being a parent, there's expectation on us to raise you in such a way that you become successful, especially sandwiched in the American culture here. Right. So that's wonderful that you share that. The pressure has I don't see pressure as a negative connotation, and then throughout my life I realized that without pressure there are certain things that I could not achieve today. Right. So but in the American society, in the developed world, we see pressure as a negative things, and then sometimes kids, children, they find themselves not performing well. But just want to share this with you that the pressure has not always a negative connotation. That's and right. The pressure you can perform well. That's right. That's where God's coming. And then some of the wisdom and understanding of certain things coming so that you can get to the next level. Yes, sir. And then as I say from the beginning that I've seen you, and then also you being raised in this society, in this American culture, also having education here, I've taught you so many positive things, and one of them is that you are pro-activist. You are pro-activism, and then recently so many things, social injustice and economic injustice, and then happening in the United States. And I see you also on social media. You spoke up about it because you learn something here that if something is going wrong, you can speak up. Absolutely. Yeah, elaborate a little bit about that.
Absolutely, especially for one, first and foremost, my identity, even before Ghanaian American, is a child of God. And so to see injustices go on to our people, especially people that look like me, and experience them at the level that they do, I personally cannot just sit comfortable in my spirit knowing that such travesty is going on. And that if I can do my part, if I can contribute, and whether it's speaking up or sharing a post or going to march, I'm definitely going to go out there and do it. Point blank simple. I understand that it's not everybody that's going to, be a Martin Luther King. There's some people that'll write a check. There's some people that'll provide water for the march. But standing back and being idle is just something I can't do. I won't. It even ties back to the way I used to talk back. Like I can't just sit there comfortably. There's something I feel I need to challenge. I have to do something about it. Yeah. Thank you.
And then this brought me up that how do we also bridge the gap over there, because many of us, first generation, coming here, immigrant, and then you are born here. We, because traditionally we have not learned how to speak up, and we came here. We have seen, right? We have observed social injustice here and there, and in our community, we don't do speak up as the new generation who are really brought up here. Right. So, what is the message? What kind of message can we channel I think that we can learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Now, what kind of mistake can we challenge for us, our community here, who shy away from speaking up when they see social and economic injustice?
Absolutely. The scripture says, in Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8, and it says, or actually that's a different scripture, but it's in Joshua chapter 1 though, and it says to be bold and be courageous, and I command you to do this. So Bible has told us that we're not given the spirit of fear, but one of power. So we know that being shy is not something that's innately within us, because that same scripture, other translations will say of timidity, and timidity being synonymous with shyness.
It can cause so much harm.
Exactly.
Being timid also.
Exactly. And along that line, because we've been called to do the Great Commission, to reach out, to help the poor, so it takes a certain boldness, it takes a certain oomph and energy to do that. And what motivates me is looking at the people who've come before us. When you really look into the Black history, when you look at people like Medgar Evers, like John Lewis, rest in peace, he had a concept he called good trouble, meaning that if they locked him up or whatever it was, if he knew he was fighting for something good, he was willing to get in good trouble. So I understand that, yes, some people are a little shy. Not everybody will be there at the front lines marching and things, but don't just sit back. Put a social media post, find some way, some medium that's comfortable for you to be an activist, right? In the same way in the church, not everybody's gonna be a pastor, not everyone's gonna lead a crusade, but the person who wipes down the pulpit is just as important as the senior pastor. So my advice to you, my humble advice, is to find an avenue that you're comfortable with and make sure that you speak up and do something.
Thank you. And then soon I'm gonna let you go, but I want to get all the wisdom out of you today. You recently also visited Africa, the great nation of Ghana.
Yes.
And then you have seen so many changes.
Yes.
So many changes. So what's your perspective, looking forward?
Absolutely. Right now, Africa is taking a dimension, the different conundrums all together. This is the place to be, to invest in, acquire land, technology. I even seen Google just built an artificial intelligence center in Ghana.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I see Goldman and Sachs, I see Deloitte, all these consulting companies. Because I went in 2008 and I recently went in the fall of 2021. And the difference that I've seen in the infrastructure, the technology, the advancement, it's profound. Don't get me wrong, I always knew I came from, royalty, from kings, Gold Coast. Black is a blessing, like the shirt says, But just knowing the capabilities and the heights that we haven't even reached yet, what did you say, 400 million?
400 million diaspora living outside Africa.
And right now you see let's even take just the Nigerians.
Yeah.
Look at them in the NBA. 25% of the first round picks last year were Nigerians. And the NFL is the same case. In business, Harvard Business School, 25% of the graduates, they were Nigerians. So you can see that there is an accumulation of wealth, of education, of knowledge flowing into our communities. And as we go back to our countries and we see what's going on respectively over there too, we see the connection being formed more and more, and just different levels, spheres on culture, music. Black Panther, like the #1 song last year was a Wizkid song, Afrobeat song.
Wow.
You can't even go anywhere, even NBA game, and not hear an Afrobeat song. All the TikTok craze is pushed by us. Like, this is a great time. It's always a great time to be African, but right now is really our time. So this is really the time to be in tune and in sync with what's going on in the African community all over the world.
Yeah, thank you very much. Absolutely. When will we see you again in Ghana?
Either November or December, I'm gonna be there.
We want to see you in Africa much often, because I believe that as you say, you being raised here, everything that you have learned has made you being well around everything. This is what it's about.
Yes,
the more things are changing, things are evolving so fast, right? And then I've seen over the year how things have been changing in Ghana. Ghana now we have a now private airport, where jets can come, because a personality want to come but they don't want to fly the commercial. And then it's amazing, as you say, that Google is having also its headquarters for artificial intelligence over there. So many companies right now, setting their eyes on Ghana just to profit. But we, the diaspora, is time. So promise made, promise kept. You want to come to Ghana this December.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that we connect and we network. Myself, this coming week, I'll find myself in Ghana with my family.
Enjoy yourself, man.
Thank you so much for accepting to be on the channel for this enlightenment. And then we are headed toward the end. I want to be able to, for this guy, I want to be able to enjoy also. Now, if you are given an almighty power to change one thing in our community, what will it be?
The one thing I would change is having a stronger sense of unity. Because as a people, right, we see the Mexicans come together and, they live together, they advance themselves. We see the Indians, whenever it's time to take a major test, 10 of them will live in the same place until they can all buy their own house. The Chinese and all these different groups. But with us black people, and I'm very careful in using black, that we've managed to make all kinds of divisions of separation amongst ourselves. Because as beautiful as the African diaspora is, we know, like, just transparently speaking, that there is somewhat of a rift between Africans and African Americans, or light skins and dark skins, or those who grew up in the city and the suburbs, hood, suburban, PWI, predominantly white institution, historically black college, and just so many unnecessary means of division. It's a crab in a barrel mentality. But when we can put all that aside, because at the end of the day, this melanin isn't going anywhere, and this black is a blessing. And when we can come together in unity, we can really do something powerful, but we need to be together to do that. So if there's one thing I would change, I say take away all the levels of separation and let us come together.
One Africa, whether you come from Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Botswana, we are Africa. The same example, we see it here for centuries, that there are states, almost 54 states here in the United States, but this is one America. That's how they are able to be strong. That's why they are able to dominate. And then at this juncture, with that being said, let us know your last word. Tell us your last word.
My last word is celebrate your blackness one more time. Your black is a blessing. Don't ever let anybody tell you different, tell you otherwise. What's going on in Africa, what's going on in African diaspora all over the world, in Germany and Brazil, in Belgium, in the United States. Stay in tune, network, fellowship with one another, rejoice in our blackness, and let's do great things together.
Thank you very much.
C'est l'Afrique, guy.
C'est l'Afrique, guy. That's the French. You learn a little bit French, right?
That's smart.
So, thank you for coming on this channel. I'm honored and privileged to have you here. And then whatever you have shared is very valuable. And to your generation, you are 20 and above, you are below 30. This message is for you. It's for you. And then, you may not agree to what is everything that is said, but if you don't agree on anything that you agree on, anything that you find valuable, anything that you find enlightening, let me know below in the comment. And also, if you are not yet subscribed, you are missing out a lot. Make sure that you subscribe to AfrigaZone, like and share this channel, the channel of the diaspora. And now, AfrigaZone, c'est l'Afrique qui gagne.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Amen.
Peace. Ciao. Ciao. Intifafa.